This Japanese mountaineer passed away on the southwest face of the most notorious and highest summit in the world, Mount Everest. After trying it 8 times before and losing 9 of his 10 fingers, why would he try it again in the first place? And what fatal error made this his last effort and cost him his life? Let's dive into the story of Kuriki Nobukazu. Kuriki Nobukazu was born on August 13, 1982 in Hokkaido, Japan. Growing up in Japan's northernmost prefecture, he was surrounded by a landscape rich in natural beauty and rugged terrain, which inevitably played a role in nurturing his early interest in the outdoors. From a young age, Nobukazu exhibited a strong inclination towards adventurous activities, often exploring the wilderness areas around his home. His passion for mountaineering ignited during his teenage years. The challenging conditions of the Japanese mountains, characterized by their steepness and often unpredictable weather, provided a perfect training ground for the young adventurer. Nobukazu's initial forays into climbing were marked by an eagerness to learn and a rapidly growing skill set, influenced by both the harsh, natural environment and the climbing culture of Japan, which emphasizes respect for nature and perseverance. By his early 20s, Nobukazu had already begun to make a name for himself in the Japanese climbing community. His early climbs were concentrated in Japan's renowned mountain ranges. Each of these expeditions contributed uniquely to his development as a mountaineer. Perhaps the most iconic of all Japanese mountains, Mount Fuji was a significant climb for Nobukazu. Standing at 3,776 meters, it presented him with challenges in terms of altitude, weather, and terrain. The climb, while technically less demanding than mountains like Everest, required careful planning and getting used to the altitude. His next challenge was the Japanese Alps, divided into the northern, central, and southern Alps. They were crucial in his development, as they provided Nobukazu exposure to different climbing techniques, from traversing steep rock faces to navigating snowy ridges. The diversity of these mountains meant that each climb was a unique lesson in adaptability and skill. In these early years, Nobukazu not only improved his physical climbing skills, but also developed the mental resilience required for high-altitude mountaineering. The variable weather conditions of the Japanese mountains, ranging from sudden storms to extreme cold, taught him to be adaptable and patient. This would be crucial in his future life when he made multiple attempts to climb Everest. Nobukazu's early mountaineering endeavors in Japan were far more than preliminary climbs. They were integral to his development, preparing him for the extraordinary challenges he would later face on the world's highest peaks. His journey underscores the importance of these foundational experiences in shaping a mountaineer's path, and lead to a very interesting philosophy that would affect him for years to come. Kuriki Nobukazu's philosophy of climbing Mount Everest without supplemental oxygen was a defining aspect of his mountaineering career. It was his way of setting himself apart in the high-altitude climbing community. This approach was rooted in a desire for purity in the climbing experience and a deep respect for the mountains. Choosing to climb without oxygen at altitudes where the air is thin is not merely a physical challenge. It's a profound commitment to experiencing the mountain in its most pure form. For Nobukazu, this was a way to forge a closer connection with Everest, to face the mountain as it is, without the artificial buffer provided by supplemental oxygen. This decision significantly increased the difficulty and risk of his climbs, as the body's performance drastically decreased at high altitudes, making every step a grueling effort. Nobukazu's philosophy was also a reflection of his mental fortitude. It required not just physical strength, but an extraordinary level of psychological resilience. Climbing without oxygen meant confronting extreme fatigue, hypoxia, and the ever-looming threat of altitude sickness, all while remaining mentally sharp enough to make critical decisions in a hostile environment. This approach can be seen as a form of purism in mountaineering, a tradition that values the raw, unfiltered experience of climbing and the personal challenge it presents. Nobukazu's choice was a testament to his belief in the importance of mental strength and the ability to be in harmony with the natural elements, embracing the mountain in its true essence. Nobukazu's no-oxygen philosophy was not just about climbing, it was an expression of his values and his deep reverence for the majestic yet unforgiving nature of high mountains. It was a journey of self-discovery, testing the limits of human endurance and resilience against the backdrop of the world's highest peak. And that brings us to his first attempts in climbing Everest.